All right, Martin, you want to start off?
So you guys made some news early this offseason with the Severino signing. Just what kind of is like the feeling this offseason as opposed to the last few offseasons, whereas you were waiting around late in the offseason to make moves. Now, a team that you feel is close to competing, adding some pieces that you feel can help you win now.
Yeah, I think the way we finished the second half, we built a lot of momentum, and the young position player group kind of carried that momentum. We still got a ways to go, and I think the signing of Severino shows the desire to accelerate that process and add to this group that showed that they can compete in the second half. And the veteran starter that has a track record of success in pitching in the postseason was kind of a target for us, and to be able to land Sevy and bring him in, not just from a performance standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint, to have him surround himself with guys like JT Ginn and Joey Estes, Osvaldo Bido, and Mitch Spence, I think is going to really add to their development and their growth.
What do you think about with the Soto thing? It really kind of really highlighted the haves and have-nots and the schism in Major League Baseball at this point. You guys are obviously in the have-nots and you're trying to build back up. But what do you think has to be done here, to basically make it a more fair playing field?
Well, Barry, I think 28 years of being in this game and being a player and now being in management, as players, we never feel like there's not a playing field that we should be on that we can't compete and win in. And I think I keep that mindset as a manager. I feel like my team that I've been able to lead for the last few years is getting to that point where we can go out and play on the field with anyone and win. I think that there is obviously in the big market arena, they have an opportunity to possibly grab one of the best players, possibly in modern baseball, because of that fact that they create revenue in ways that maybe a small market team can't. But for me, I think we look at it twofold. Like, we've got an opportunity to get these young players to that point in their careers where they get an opportunity to be paid and for what they've done and accomplished, and that's equally as exciting as it is to acquire someone that is at that level already.
Especially given your guys' second half last year, it's a teammate, adding Severino, potentially adding. How do you rate your ability to compete in your division last year?
Yeah, it's a different level of expectation on my end going into spring training. With the group that we have, I know that there's going to be bumps because they still are young. Maturity happens generally into those arbitration years. And I think we could look at a player like Brent Rooker that it took time for him to become the player that we're looking at in front of us now, a middle of the order bat that has put 2 seasons together back to back. And we're looking for players like Zach Geloff to have those 2 seasons back to back. We're also looking for J.J. Bleday and Shea Langeliers and those guys that are leading into their ARB years to really come about and solidify the type of player they can be consistently, because we've seen that in spurts. We saw Lawrence Butler at his best for 2 months at the top of the game. We also saw him in April kind of have to go back to AAA and reset. So the goal is to get these guys as consistent as possible, as quickly as possible, and if that happens, I think we have a definite opportunity to make some noise in the division and compete with teams like Houston and Seattle.
Could you see you guys adding more? Do you feel like maybe that's the plan? That's more Forrest's area.
It is David's area, but I have been involved in the process this offseason at a little larger capacity, which I was really happy about, and I think that the vision for David, myself, and Dan and Rob was to add to the areas we felt would have most impact. And obviously starting pitching, even though we have starting pitching with the guys I mentioned, they're young, they're inexperienced, and that was kind of an area we felt we could help, especially with the confidence that the young position player group built and showed throughout the course of the last 64 games. So I do feel like we still have goals to accomplish in this offseason. Whether we get there, we'll see. Third base obviously is an area where we haven't had a player kind of come in and solidify themselves. We've given some opportunities, some young players, Brent Harris being one of them, Daryl Hernandez being another. I think Max Schumann, who played shortstop, will get an opportunity there. But, definitely hopeful we can continue to add a few more pieces that can impact the club.
I think David said pretty firmly at the GO meeting that he's not going anywhere as a manager. How great is that?
Yeah, it's great because he's a centerpiece of the offense right now. He's a quiet leader of the group, and obviously he's a player that I'm somewhat emotionally attached to because of our story, our history, and how he made the team in 23 and what he's done for the club over the last 2 seasons. So it's great that we get this opportunity to present a contract in front of him, allow him to make a decision if he wants to be here long term. And, that's something the A's really haven't had a chance to do over the last 25 years, and very few long-term contracts. So I think that shows itself that there's a change in kind of direction for this organization.
With prospective free agents this offseason, what have been maybe some of the challenges of convincing them to sign with your team, given just the circumstances of these next 3 years?
Yeah, I want to say first, like, the article that was written or came out with Walker, that wasn't necessarily true. Walker never said he didn't want to come. He didn't want to play in Sacramento. The challenges, like you said, are when you're a major league player and you've played in a major league stadium that has a third level, an upper deck, and a capacity of 40,000. Like, there's an excitement and energy about that. That's different in Sacramento. There's going to be 14,000+. It's going to be loud. It's going to be exciting. We just haven't experienced that yet. And until you go through it, you really can't talk about the differences. For me, the challenges of being in Sacramento are all unknown because it's something we haven't walked through. When they ask about facilities, we're doing everything in our capability to provide major league services and amenities, and we're going to have a brand new building, one that for us we can call home for 3 years. They've done everything they can to put the amenities in that are required, but more that will add to their experiences in the clubhouse, which I'm glad and thankful for. And I think at the end of the day, we want players that want to be a part of our group. And Severino said he wanted to be a part of our group. So to me, that there are no challenges that I face going forward with free agents. It's about the group and the players and the team that we have.
You said that it's uncertain. What's next? What it's going to look like in Sacramento is uncertain. Like, what strategies have you guys developed to just be transparent with these prospective free agents, maybe ease their minds about just what it's going to look like?
Well, I mean, we have the diagrams, we have the layout, we have the field dimensions. We know what the bullpens are going to look like. The only thing that's going to be different from a major league stadium is that the clubhouse isn't going to be attached to the dugout. So the freedom for them you're going to see players actively walk out of the dugout, down the left field line, go out the door, go into the clubhouse. That'll be new for fan maybe experience, but it won't be new for players because we've consistently done that throughout baseball. Guys go in the clubhouse, spin 2 innings, you don't see them, and they pop back up on the bench if they're not in the game. That'll be the only challenge or only difference. And as far as the game, the field, it's same game, same field, same dimensions. Visiting teams are going to have to play there, and we're going to get to play there 81 times.
You said the Walker thing wasn't necessarily true. I'm just wondering, generally speaking, what has been your feedback from these players?
I mean, their curiosity, their feedback has been. I mean, they can't really give feedback until they go experience it, right? I can't give you feedback on on what it's going to feel like or how it's going to be. It's in the process of being developed. So, But I can assure you that it's going to be Major League standard, and it's going to be Major League quality. And I can assure you that the hot tubs are going to be in ground and not a metal hot tub like we had in Oakland, So there's going to be some positives as well, definitely.
Jacob Wilson, obviously a lot of excitement last year as a top prospect, came up, did have some injuries. As he goes into preparing for potentially a full season with you guys, do you send him into the offseason with any type of plan to address maybe some concerns about his injury stuff?
Yeah, so I spoke about Jacob on MLB this morning in terms of just the physicality that's needed to play at this level on an everyday basis. So that's been a big emphasis for Jacob, is to get in the weight room, to really focus on the strength side of things as well as the flexibility. Jacob's hamstrings have been tight. There's some areas to address that we feel like we can help him in that area. He's working with our strength coach, Josh Cuffey, in Arizona. I think he's training out of the spring training facility, which is great, so we can continue to work with him and monitor his progress. But it will be interesting because Jacob hasn't played a 162-game schedule. And in the minor leagues now, with the adjustments they've made with giving a day off every Monday, you don't get the rigor of a 13-day stretch where you don't get a break. So that's going to be different for Jacob, and we're going to have to kind of monitor his workload and see how we can keep him healthy and on the field for as many games as possible.
The Giants brought over Mike Olson, obviously he was in the organization. So what does he bring to the table? What are some of the strengths that he might bring to the table?
Well, the strengths is the relationship for Bob. If you're talking about what he's going to do for the Giants, I think Pike has grown a lot, in Oakland. I can remember, being the infield coach in 21 and kind of mentoring him on our side, on our perspective, as opposed to the data side and the analytics side of positioning and player speed, player agility. Pike has done an amazing job in transitioning and continuing to grow in his role. For Pike, it was more of a family decision, for him and what was best for him and Morgan, which is always first and foremost for us. David and I take a lot of value and pride in the family side and what's most important for the person as opposed to the organization. Is it going to be a loss? Yes. But we have a great team together in baseball ops that will fill those roles and continue to do great things. But obviously for Pike, we're excited for his opportunity with the Giants, and I know that he'll have an impact there.
So how do you describe Pike for somebody who didn't obviously you do, I do, but
Yeah.
for Giants fans and Giants people, how would you describe him?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Pike, I think Pike is shy, but yet confident, and he's obviously, he's thoughtful in how he approaches now, the game and the decisions that are made in the game, and I think his growth over the last 3 years has been really good, coming from a pure, data analytics side of how you see the game to growing and combining that vision. So, but you won't notice Pike, which is another positive about Pike.
You're entering the last year of your contract. An extension, something that you've talked about with David, or something that you'd like to discuss here at some point?
David and I haven't talked about the future in terms of our future together. I know David is also in the last year of his contract. I can only speak for myself in saying that I've always said this. I said it last off season. I want to see this through. I want to win with this group. So in terms of going forward, it's not necessarily my decision, but one that I would definitely be open to for the future. And again, right now focuses on going from 69 wins to a total that gets us competing for the last through the last game of the season and a chance to go to the postseason. So.